Today on the Topping Show, Bud Light is pulled from both 7-Eleven and Walmart shelves. Vivek doing pull-ups with the army gets 1 million views in one day. Gavin Newsom cries when a judge blocks his law to destroy the First and Second Amendment. California is suing oil companies, thereby biting the hand that actually feeds. Bryan Cranston is complaining about the strike still. Bud Light touchdown bribe tweet actually fails. Cracker Barrel, well, they have a demographic issue. Amazon Prime Day is set for October 10th. DirecTV and Nexstar come to an agreement to end the blackout. UAW president attacks Elon, foolishly calling him greedy. And gas generators, well, they're being recalled due to burns and possibly bursting into flames, unfortunately. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, we're giving away a free flamethrower with every September purchase. Yes, it can be mounted to an AR-15, as all things should be able to. Click the website, toppingtechnologies.com, to learn a little bit more. Lastly, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, so if you can click that button, we greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Cracker Barrel. Well, they have a little bit of a demographic issue. The customers, well, they're kind of dying. Kind of a big deal. Well, unless you're, starting political parties. If you die, you can still vote for them, apparently. But in the private sector, the real world, yes, once your customers unfortunately decease, they can no longer purchase your product. Now, the good news is Cracker Barrel has a new CEO coming on board. It looks like Julie Fellas Mazzino. She's going to be coming on track to CEO about November, so mere weeks away, so it seems. And she's coming from Taco Bell, which, if you can actually convince customers to buy Taco Bell, that is an accomplishment in and of itself. I believe I know 3 people who have purchased Taco Bell while not being copiously inebriated. There are apparently some people who still purchase the product, although I might have to do a fact check on that. I might have to look him in the eye and be like, be honest with me. Were you really sober when you went to Taco Bell? Really? But nevertheless, that is the rumor that people still go there while they're not inebriated. So if that person can accomplish that at Taco Bell, I assume they could turn this restaurant around as well. Now, it looks like the issue is about 43% of Cracker Barrel's guests are 55 and older. So, kind of like Cadillac back in the 90s, they had a pretty big issue in terms of their demographics as well. Pretty similar. A lot of their customers were very older, and they weren't exactly going to come by and purchase another vehicle from General Motors, who owns Cadillac. And pejoratively at the time, the people would joke around saying, the most expensive, bar none, casket that you buy is a Cadillac or a Buick, because it was subsequently, the joke being that's one of the last things they purchased before they unfortunately decease. Now, GM, surprisingly, I don't say this too often, they were able to accomplish a goal, and they did bring down the average age for the Cadillac purchaser, as well as the Buick purchasing audience, by about 10 years with a couple marketing initiatives, which, in terms of bringing down the average age of a product purchaser, that is a huge delta, going from 50s, I believe actually with Cadillac is more in the 60s to the 50s. It might not sound a lot anecdotally, but in terms of moving the demographics of a product, that is astonishingly successful. Partially because they reinvented the vehicles in terms of they designed them a hell of a lot better, made it a little more angular. They had a whole arts and some fancy pontifical word that they chose to sound fancy. A whole initiative to redesign the vehicles, make them look a little bit more modern. And a not insignificant amount of capital was invested into basically, not subsidizing, a nice way of saying is marketing, the Matrix. So if you ever go back and watch the old Matrix movies, can't help but notice a lot of General Motors products. A lot of Cadillacs in there. One of the most successful films I could think of, actually, even rare enough, stands the test of time. So, next time you watch The Matrix, just count how many GM products are in there. That was really when Cadillac was trying to push that demographic down and reach a younger audience, which I would say that contributed to part of their success. Now, the issue with Cracker Barrel is they're worried some of the updates might alienate their current customers. Kind of had this issue with Harley Davidson as well. Same issue, a lot of older buyers. They're not attracting the youth as well as they could be. Although, in GM's credit, and this pretty sure with this restaurant's credit, they weren't as foolish as Harley Davidson partnering with Bud Light, a business blunder in and of itself. Now, with Cracker Barrel, it looks like they're struggling on all accounts. So their stock is down about 1/3 in the past 6 months, falling from $113.55 per share to now around $69.43 per share. And the market cap has been eviscerated to now being worth about $1.54 billion. And it'll be interesting to see some of the comments when I was looking at researching this, specifically on LinkedIn. Some were saying, well, maybe they need to remove the locations. And, maybe they need to add things to the menu. Well, it's going to be hard to change the locations because part of the charm of Cracker Barrel is they're not always, but historically, if you watch any documentary about the company, they're more on the outskirts of society, some might say, more by the highways. I mean, it's more of an experience. It's not going to be in the middle of downtown Chicago. That also would be prudent because you have to really jack up your insurance rates because, of course, crime is exponentially higher in Chicago than anywhere else. Though, they're doing exactly what they want. They voted for it. Now, it'll be interesting to see. The restaurant chain has noted they've had a little success bringing in millennials by adding beer, wine, and appetizer. And I don't know how much I believe this last thing that they noticed. They said, oh yeah, we increased our sales to the millennials by adding QR codes, which, I don't know, I feel like those have kind of been played out in terms of convenience of, it used to be a convenience, or some might argue is more sanitary, just scan a QR code to your phone and then you get the menu on there. I mean, from a cybersecurity perspective, that's the dumbest thing you could do because you have no idea what that QR code is. You're trusting a restaurant to have properly done, not just a restaurant to do something properly in tech, which depending on what the restaurant's key proficiencies are, precarious to think they could do that, as well as what if a malicious actor, an unethical hacker, what if they just printed out a QR code and put it in the restaurant's table? That's certainly not inconceivable these days. So personally, call me old-fashioned, but I prefer a little paper menu that I can actually hold, touch, and use. Now, interestingly enough, all these things, they very well might just alienate the current buyers of Cracker Barrel. So I don't know what kind of nostalgia they need to play on or what kind of initiatives they have thinking that they're going to be doing or what kind of brand. It would certainly be an imprudent decision for them to hire someone like, who's that moron, Nicki Minaj or one of those rappers. You see other restaurants doing that, but that's because it's a younger audience. It's kind of the culture of the restaurants. What would be a good brand ambassador or a good marketing initiative for Cracker Barrel? Maybe a country musician like Oliver and Anthony? That'd be good, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, or perhaps a barrel, more metaphorically speaking. Let me know in the comments, what could be done to resolve this issue? Because it doesn't sound like they want to go mainstream, quote unquote, but I mean, they're no longer, mom and pop shop. They're owned by their subsidiary. They're owned by Darden, which is one of the largest holding companies on the planet for restaurants. Specifically, I believe it's Darden because they also own a couple of others. And that stock specifically, the Cracker Barrel portfolio, they're the worst performing restaurant. So, needless to say, they need to make some changes. Will they make them in time or how they will? It'll be interesting to see. Time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, so if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, get that free flamethrower with every September purchase. Go to toppictechnologies.com to learn a little bit more. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment. The feedback is greatly appreciated as we make the show better and better together. And lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.